The Audible is back in action. I'm with my guys, Donnie, Rightside, and the Whale Capper. Year 2 of us working together, and I am so excited. We're going to be breaking down each and every team, breaking down each and every division. We are starting with the AFC North, the very young and talented Browns, the Steelers, who may have chemistry issues fixed, the Ravens with Lamar Jackson in year 2, and then the Bengals with their terrible defense last year. Can they exceed expectations? This division is wide open. Donnie, Rightside, the AFC North.
Absolutely incredible. I'm so glad we're starting off with this division at first because there's so many moving parts in here. The Cleveland Browns, young, upstart, talented. The Pittsburgh Steelers, still sitting right there with a Hall of Fame quarterback. The new-look Baltimore Ravens, which can they add that second dimension in the second year with Lamar Jackson? And then there's those Cincinnati Bengals, which coming in right about fourth place seems about right. What a division. A lot of fun to watch this year.
Whale Capper, the AFC North, up for grabs.
Yeah, I think you guys said it. And what a great place to start. High intensity, rivalries in this division, black and blue division. I don't know if you guys know this, but there is no love lost between some of these teams. This is going to be extremely competitive. This isn't your grandpappy's Browns anymore. This is a whole new look for this team. This is going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Let's get into this.
Let's get into this. Cleveland Browns, let's start there. The favorites in the division, win total over under at 9.5 to make the playoffs, minus 120 to win the division, plus 125 to win the conference, plus 700, Super Bowl, plus 14. High expectations. A loaded offense, youngest team in the NFL. Will Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham gel together? They played college ball together. Can they handle being on the field and each playing their part? Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson will be a great duo. And remember, only have to wait 8 days for the much-maligned Kareem Hunt to make an appearance for these Browns. They got Olivier Vernon, a big addition defensively. Myles Garrett has another year under his belt. And Myles Garrett to be the Defensive Player of the Year at 16-1. Beckham receiving yards over under 1285. Baker Mayfield passing yards over under 4,325. Wow. The Browns are the favorites, Donnie.
No, it's amazing. And no, it's not a broken record. And listen to that again. The Cleveland Browns are favored to win the division. Not favored to get the number 1 overall pick, favored to win the division. 14-1 to win the Super Bowl. Brian Sipe, Bernie Kosar, Ernest Biner, Frank Minifield. Where are you guys at? This is the new look Browns and a new regime coming in. Started out last year a little bit slow, heated up as the end of the season, swashbuckler quarterback, and you added a ton of talent. Can they rush the pass rusher, Jimmy? Check. Do they have athletic linebackers? Check. A good secondary? Check. A defensive coordinator that will put the bounty on the other team? Absolutely, it's a check. Look at that offense here. Freddie Kitchens is going to be able to run. Quarterback, young in development. 3 wide receivers that can get after it. 3 running backs that can. Only thing, a little bit of chink in that arm if we take a look at Jimmy. A little bit weak at right and left tackle, but outside of that, all the talent is there for this division when we take a look at it. I'm a big proponent here of looking how the schedule shakes up because you have a lot of mouths to feed. If you can just make it through, Jimmy, those first 8 games and hang around 4-4, you say, wait a minute, 4-4, that's not going to get it done. It gets a lot easier on the back end. It would not surprise me at all, Jimmy, if they go 6-2 or 7-1 down the stretch, hit their team total, and win the division. What? The Cleveland Browns winning the division.
It's true. It's true, and it's really happening. Baker and the boys are dangerous, Whale Capper. The Cleveland Browns favorite to win this division.
It's incredible. You never thought you would have seen this just a year and a half, 2 years ago. This team was synonymous with losing, and now here they sit at the top of one of the more competitive divisions in football. It's wild. But I will say I do see a pretty clear market overreaction to the promise, to the hype. We've seen it now 2 years in a row. The Rams got rid of a problem coach, brought in a young coach with some new ideas to pair with a young quarterback on a cost control contract. They put a bunch of good pieces around them, and they made a leap from like a 4-12 team to a contender immediately. We saw it again last year with the Bears. The Bears got rid of a problem coach and they bring in a new guy and pair him with a young quarterback on a cost control contract, and they make a huge leap. the expectation is the Browns do that this year, as far as you look across the league and, kind of try to find a mold, fit the mold and stuff like that. But they're doing it more on offense than the Bears, obviously. And I think, you have a lot of questions still about how this team fits together from a chemistry standpoint. You have a lot of questions about how Freddie Kitchens handles his role as a head coach for the first time ever. And I think Donnie nailed it. They are going to have a little bit of a rocky road coming out with the difficulty of their schedule. If you like the Browns, if you want to get involved in the Browns to make a run at the AFC North title, wait for about week 7, week 8. 5 of their 6 conference games come in the last 7 weeks of the season. They will control their own destiny, regardless of how the opening part of the season goes. So let them kind of work out the kinks. Let Baker kind of seize the role of leader in the locker room and then get involved in the Browns if that's the way you're going to attack the AFC North this year, in my opinion.
I think, though, great points from both you guys in that schedule. At Titans, then the Jets, then at the Rams, then Ravens, Niners, at Seahawks, then Patriots, Broncos. A tough first 8 weeks for these Browns. And then we get to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not the favorite in the division for the first time in a long time. Win total 9.5, juice to the under. Minus 120 to make the playoffs. That's the same as the Browns. Plus 190 to win the division. Plus 1,000 to win the conference. Plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl. Prop bets. Roethlisberger to have the most passing yards at plus 750. James Conner to have the most rushing yards at plus 2,800. Juju Smith, most receiving yards at plus 1,000. Devin Bush Jr., Defensive Rookie of the Year at plus 700. Another situation that Donnie will talk about, a very tough first 6 games. Last year, 4th in average yards per game. Is Tomlin capable of leading this team to the promised land? Antonio Brown leaves for the Raiders. Was he the problem? Is Big Ben the problem? The drama surrounding Le'Veon Bell is gone. Juju Smith now the main man. Can he get you those numbers? AB put up 1,297 yards, 15 TDs. They need James Washington to step up. They bring in Dante Moncrief from the Jaguars. Deontay Johnson out of Toledo. They signed linebacker Mark Barron. They brought in cornerback Steven Nelson from the Chiefs. Can Big Ben have another 5,000-yard season? Will first-round pick Devin Bush be a monster linebacker? He's a beast out of Michigan. They have a questionable secondary. Do the Steelers have enough, Donnie?
Steelers do have enough, and I really think they do, because when you take a look at their overall lineup right now, you have a Hall of Fame quarterback to begin with. You have a dominant offensive line, and that's going to be the key here, because you have a good running game. Connor's going to be healthy back this year. You have Samuels as a backup running back. You draft Benny Snell out of the SEC, another thumper there, so that's not going to be an issue running the football or moving it forward. The one interesting thing is going to be is actual psychology of the locker room, because you can't blame anybody anymore. Who are we going to go and say, well, if Le'Veon showed up, we would have had a much better season. What a distraction. Or Antonio Brown, unless he gets 12 catches a game, boy, what a distraction he is. There's no more excuses in there. And to me, if you see me on some of these shows, I'm not the biggest Mike Tomlin guy in the world. This is a huge year for him. The Steelers, as we know, they don't interchange their head coaches and mix and move them. They're going to be there a while, but all the excuses are now out of the locker room for this team to go. I think Juju Smith-Schuster, I don't think he's going to struggle, but look, when you have AB on one side of the football for you, Jimmy, he takes a lot of heat. You're going one-on-one on the backside. Now you're the front man. We're going to see if Moncrief can wake up for a lot of that. The one thing I do like about the Steelers is they've been there, done that before. Their team total is 9, and the most important thing is if you look in their past, they're almost a shoo-in for 9 wins. I like their team total at 9. They're going to give the Browns all they can ask for, and this is the team that's been there, done it before. Until Cleveland does, I still have the Steelers as the front runner in this division.
Ooh, that's an exciting take right there. Whale Capper, all you have to do is stop this team by doubling Juju and then stopping Connor? Is there a step back in production? Whale Capper, do the Steelers have enough?
I do think there is a step back in production. I don't think you can take a player as dynamic as Antonio Brown for today's NFL. I don't think you can take that player off of a team and see no impact. There's going to be an impact on Ben Roethlisberger's his passing production. There's going to be an impact on the passing game as a whole for the Steelers. And the Mike Tomlin is still a problem. I don't think that he has the answers for today's NFL. And the volatility in terms of what could happen with this team if they get off to a great start, if they gel from a chemistry standpoint, if everybody's rowing the boat in the same direction, they might be a force. But I think the other side of the coin is not positive. I think there is a realistic possibility that things don't go well and that they don't get off to a good start. They have a tough first opening week at Foxborough. They got to go watch the banner get hung by the Patriots hanging their 6th Super Bowl banner, and then they got to go out there and try to defeat the champs on the road. That is a very tough spot to be in. I'll probably be backing the Steelers in that spot, on the spread at least. But, here, the idea that they're going to get off to a win and kind of gel as opposed to have a little bit of a tough start here and things could go wrong, I'm not buying them as as potential contenders in the AFC North just yet. And I'm surprised that their win total is effectively dead even with the Browns, but you can get a much more favorable price on the Steelers to win the AFC North right now if you shop around. That's surprising to me. That indicates that the market in general is kind of in agreement, a little skeptical of this team, not really interested in backing the idea that they can, win the North with their money at this point.
Yeah, this team. I mean, I want to read the papers that bye week after 6 weeks. I want to read the papers and hear what they're saying about Ben, because it could be awful. It could be Ben is done. Ben is done. Let's move on to the Baltimore Ravens right now, and I'm so excited to see this team this year. Win total at 8.5. Again, juice to the under. To make the playoffs, plus 175. Division, plus 260. Conference, 16-1. Win the Super Bowl, plus 3,300. Earl Thompson, Defensive Player of the Year, plus 3,300. Lamar Jackson, rush yards, over 875.5 at minus 125. Lamar Jackson, pass yards, 3,000.5. Marquise Brown, Offensive Rookie of the Year, plus 1,000. Does Lamar Jackson blossom this year? Do they let him throw downfield? He averaged 75 yards a game on the ground last year. That's an incredible number. Only 5 running backs in the NFL average more than that. Greg Roman replaces Marty Morenweg as offensive coordinator. They lose John Brown. Do they have his replacement in Hollywood Brown, 25th overall pick out of Oklahoma? His college numbers were unbelievable. Last year's top-ranked defense adds 5-time All-Pro Earl Thomas. Now, I'm a West Coast guy. He's 30, coming off his second broken leg in 3 seasons. If healthy, he's a perfect defender for Wink Martindale's read and react system. Cornerbacks Brandon Carr and Jimmy Smith are very good. I am so excited about what's going to happen to this Ravens team. We know they're going to be exciting, but can run-first offenses still succeed in the NFL, Donnie?
I don't know if a run-first offense can succeed in the NFL, but here's the problem that we're going to run into, because you're right. They switched offensive coordinators, which is actually a good thing, because now you're going to make other defensive coordinators say, well, we knew exactly what Marty Morningway was going to do. What's Greg Roman going to do? But the only problem I have here is you have a set of wide receivers that if you had a really accurate quarterback, these guys can do things in space. Short slant routes, deep outs. These kids can get open. The only problem is it's not Lamar Jackson's forte right here. Does he have a strong arm? Yes. Is it accurate? Not really accurate. And when you looked at last year, they got hot down the stretch because we were dealing with almost an offense that you saw like back in the day where like the Wildcat was running wild with the Miami Dolphins. Like, oh man, how can we stop this? Defensive coordinators are some of the smartest species on this planet. Give them 6 months to digress and get after that Baltimore Ravens offense. They better come up with a lot of things different, because when you were rolling into the playoffs last year, Gus Bradley came out, a veteran defensive coordinator, goes, watch me embarrass this offense. And he did that in the playoff game to end the season. If you have a quarterback that's not built on passing in an absolute passing league, you better be running a super smoke and mirrors type offense that the Baltimore Ravens are going to have to do. A lot of interchangeable parts on defense that are not coming in. You're right. Earl Thomas is going to help out. He is an upgrade over Eric Weddle, but you lost the heart and soul type guys. Terrell Suggs going to be out of the league, out of the division now. Now, when you take a look at the Baltimore Ravens overall, you're going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Look, you're not as good at quarterback as those other two teams are. Lamar Jackson, talented, absolutely. But do I think the Ravens can get the 9 wins? I'm not buying on that one.
Wow. I see the Browns at 9.5 wins, probably 10 wins, maybe 9 wins. Same with the Steelers, 9 wins, maybe 10 wins. But the Ravens, they could win 10 games. They could win 6 games. I am not sure at this point what we're going to get from this Ravens squad. Whale Capper, can you shine some light?
Well, I generally agree with Donnie's take there. And reports out of camp to this point are that Lamar Jackson looks inconsistent. And that has kind of been the knock on him. And his kind of next step as a passer as you go into year 2 is you are going to have to find a way to make more completions down the field. The 11 to 15 yard range, you have got to be able to eat there if you are a passer in this league. And that is where he is struggling, which is a huge red flag. That said, what they offer from an attack standpoint is just different enough. It's not, you say, oh, it's a run focus. Yeah, that's true. It's run focus if you look at the box score. But the dynamic approach that they're bringing is not something that every team is going to be prepared for. They're going to get some wins when you think that that they don't really have the ability to do so, just on the basis of being a little different, a little bit more creative. And so I don't know that I'm fully ready to sell on this Ravens team because they also have what I believe to be the best head coach of this foursome here. I think John Harbaugh has shown us an ability to be creative, to list. He's got a good staff. He's got a good analytics team behind him, helping him figure out the right way to use the pieces he's got. Where I have the most questions, though, really isn't on the offense for the Ravens, because I think, again, they're just different enough. They're just unique enough that they'll get theirs. But the defense I do worry about. You brought up they added Earl Thomas to a good defense. They lost a lot of very, very key veteran leaders on that defense that set the tone, that really kind of the DNA of their defense is gone now. They're going to have to rebuild that on the fly. Are they capable of doing that? Sure. Did they get the personnel in the draft to do that? I don't really think so. So it's for me, it's a wait and see here really for the Ravens. 8 wins is where I grade them. So I guess I would lean slightly to the under. But if over the course of the season Lamar Jackson really finds a groove in the passing game, then my expectation and my ceiling for this team goes up a lot.
Nice breakdown. I like that. I'm excited about this Ravens squad. And now we get to the Cincinnati Bengals. And to be honest with you, I'm just excited about this division. I'm excited to see what the Bengals do. Win total 6.5. The unders -160. The overs +130. I'm shocked at that. I think this Bengals team could actually surprise. I've seen people say, yeah, I think the Bengals could be much better than expected. I've also seen a lot of people saying this Bengals team wins 4 games this year. To make the playoffs +700, division +1,800, conference +6,600, Super Bowl +12,500. Mixon to have the most rushing yards, 20-1. AJ Green, most receiving yards, 22-1. Andy Dalton's over/under passing yards, 3,725.5. It's Zach Taylor time. He leaves the Rams. He was an assistant coach there for the past 2 seasons. Was an assistant coach with the Dolphins from 2012 to 2015. Played collegiately at Nebraska, starting QB for the Cornhuskers in 05-06. Named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year in 06. They have weapons on offense. Mixon, Green, Boyd. Mixon is a monster. Bernard's a strong backup. They draft Jonah Williams with the 11th overall pick to help this terrible offensive line. That's going to be enormous for the playmakers. This offense is fine. We know what the problem is, defense. Last year they gave up 6,618 yards. Can they improve it? Will they improve it? Donnie, Rightside, Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I don't know about the Cincinnati Bengals this year, but the one thing we do know is 5.5, whatever the win total is at this point, around that range. That's not too hard, but the only problem is when we just took a look at the Baltimore Ravens, they open up with maybe the easiest schedule I've ever seen in my life. First 2 games, Miami and Arizona, picking up those 2 quick wins. Now, flip it over to the Cincinnati Bengals, who are going to need all the help they can get. You hit on it right, Jimmy. They have 2 really good wide receivers. And if John Ross ever gets it together to be that little Deshaun Jackson mini clone out there, that can be a formidable offensive threat, but it all balanced on their quarterback. We know Andy Dalton's going to have a big season, or he needs a big season because he's looking for that next contract. They have a couple good running backs. But outside of that, the schedule's not going to help them out. As we take a look, 3 or 4 to start on the road, which is already going to be tough enough for a new rookie head coach to make his way, and also a team that's not supposed to be good. If they get hammered right out of the gate, everybody starts worrying about themselves. But also, what I don't like is here, they lose a home game. They go to London, and who they play? The Rams. Boy, I would much rather play the Rams at home than on the road in London in that perspective. Not a lot to love on defense. They should be able to rush the passer. If there's one upgrade that you can take a look, Jimmy, at the Cincinnati Bengals, it's just that Marvin Lewis isn't there anymore, so now they can move forward with their future. There's not a lot to like, but in the NFL, of 5.5. You might look at some injuries around the NFL. If they stay healthy, they'll be competitive on a spread-to-spread basis. I don't know if they can get that 6 wins. And the reason being, Jimmy, just because of that schedule is going to be so tough already to start. And then you give away the game in London.
Yeah, the London edition is tough. Whale Capper, can the Bengals surprise, or are we waiting to see them in the cellar once again?
If there's one certainty about this division, it's that the Bengals are going to finish 4th. I really don't think that that's up for debate. And the way that their schedule breaks down, the new coach, who we really don't know much about, I mean, effectively got hired because he's been in the Sean McVay system and got the magic fairy dust from Sean McVay by, communicably or whatever. But whatever we have way too many holes on this roster to expect them to be able to compile wins early in the season. And if they don't get them early in the season, then they're in deep freaking trouble. And I could see a very clear and obvious scenario where they are something like 2-4 or even 2-5. And at that point, they look down their schedule and it's like, okay, we're about at the bottom of the league here with the Dolphins. It is a race to the bottom so that we can replace Andy Dalton with the franchise quarterback, because there's going to be a couple guys coming out next year the teams are going to covet. And I think that is the next move for this franchise. It is moving on from Dalton and coming up with a more effective future plan from a quarterbacking standpoint in the draft next year. And I think you're going to want to be in the bottom 2 to get, you're going to want to be either one of those bottom 2 picks in order to have your shot at your swing at a legit quarterback. So for me, if I was betting into this market, I would try to make damn sure that I saw 4 wins for the Bengals before about week 8, or else I would look to stay away or bet the under, because every whiff about this team and the way that their schedule stacks up is, tells me that, they're going to be, positioning themselves for the draft more so than trying to, surprise, get a wild card spot or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good breakdown. They're in big trouble. Breaking down this AFC North, we know it's going to be very, very competitive. Hearing you guys talk about it, I feel like the Browns are going to get too much love. Everybody wants to see the Browns turn it around. It feels like the value is with the Steelers and with the Ravens. Donnie, the AFC North, what are your final notes?
Yeah, you know what? Early in the season, we're going to take a look at it right now as is. I haven't seen it done before, so I'm not going to trust you. So that knocks the Cleveland Browns out for me. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers right around that 2-1 plus 170 range here. And also give me the Steelers at 9 wins, because if they're going to win the division, you're going to have to escape and get over that double-digit win total. I think the Steelers win the division. I'll take the plus 170, and I think they get over the team total in that aspect. Again, just preface, Jimmy, Cleveland hasn't done it before. Let me see you do it first.
I like it. Whale Capper, AFC North up for grabs. What are your final notes?
I like the Browns to make the playoffs. I think they're a playoff team this year. As I look across the AFC landscape, and given their schedule has 10 wins on it, I like over 9 wins or 9.5 wins for them. I think they're a double-digit win team. I don't like the price on them to win the AFC North, but I have a very strong suspicion come Halloween we'll be doing an Audible, and I'll be stumping like, if you don't buy the Browns now to win the AFC North, then you're not playing the field right, because they are really set up to control their own destiny down the stretch the way their schedule is stacked up. And this is the kind of team, and Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, is the kind of leader that will bring this team together as opposed to tear it apart. So on the flip side, where is the value then to bet the AFC North? For me, it's either the Steelers or the Ravens, and you just kind of have to, decide for yourself there. I'm going to back some Ravens early to win the AFC North because their price is better, because their schedule is easier early, and the idea that they get out to like a 3-0, 3-1, 4-1 type of record early in the season, I think, again, presents opportunity to come back hard on the Browns if that number starts to get tilted, if that market starts to move.
Oh, it's a very, very interesting angle. That is the AFC North. What a pleasure it is to break down these divisions with you guys and then break down every week of this season. I love being a part of this show. Donnie Rightside, Whale Capper, thank you guys so much. Donnie Rightside, let me hand it over to you. Thank you so much for being a part of this show, man. I can't wait to rock this season with you.
Is it going to be a lot of fun? Look, that was 1 division out of 7. We're only getting started here, so it's going to be a great season. Look forward to. We'll have a lot of fun. Join us right here on SBRodds.com and SportsbookReview.com. What a season, man.
And Whale Capper, I'm so pumped, man. I am so pumped, and we're 2.5 months away.
Yeah, man, this is going to be fantastic. If this show is any sign, we are going to build some momentum into this through this off season and right into the regular season and just tear this thing down.
Tear this thing down. Get that cash. Thank you guys for watching. That's just one division, as Donnie said. Lots of work to do. 2.5 months away from kickoff week 1.